So Avan, the Bank Nifty is up about 500 points from the low, which is the Wednesday low which we made, and the Nifty is up by about 300 points. Now we've taken support from key levels, both for the Nifty and for the Bank Nifty. The buyback news from TCS, which is a heavyweight stock, is going to be a spring in the stride for the bulls. If the geopolitical issue would have not been there, then you would have made a case that the bulls would have really cut loose in the morning. But given what's happening on the geopolitical front, the market upside now clearly will get compromised. So we could easily go back to a situation where the long bias of the market, which was getting more and more visible on Thursday and again on Friday, may just get challenged. Meanwhile, what markets could do is that they would wait for global development on the political side, on the geopolitical side, and on the financial market side. If there is no panic whatsoever, which is what it appears right now, looking at Dow futures, how Asian markets have moved, how global volatility index have moved, how SGX or GIFT Nifty is actually trading currently, then you would imagine that instead of a Monday, it could be a big mid-week hurrah for the market. Remember, this is an important week because you will hear from IT companies. It's an important month because you will hear, because this is the earning month, and this also could be an indication or precursor of the festival demand. While the markets, I think, were just about getting ready for a launch, the bulls were just about getting ready, now they would perhaps wait. So the Nifty can come back to the lower end of the range, which is that Wednesday's low now becomes very important in terms of the positioning of the market.
Yeah, but I think history has told us that amidst any geopolitical tension, India continues to remain a buy on dips market. And the markets wade through all the walls of worry eventually.
See, Asha, this is my personal view, and Maruf would be joining us. He's an expert in this. This is not Russia versus Ukraine. It's not a war between two countries. It's a militia group who's done some. It's a militia group, and which, in a sense, is not getting any kind of support, with the exception any kind of support from any of the other global leaders or any other countries. B, purely from a context standpoint, the positioning of Israel as a supplier to the world in terms of oil or natural resources is not very large. In the Russia-Ukraine war also, India was able to negotiate something great, which is it was a victory for their foreign diplomacy when they were able to buy crude from Russia at a discount. So imagine if the Russia-Ukraine war had a very limited impact in terms of the supply chain disruption when Russia is a large producer, given that right now it's going to be between Palestine and between Israel. That's a regional market, and supply chain may just get challenged for some time, which would be temporary in nature. I don't think from a market standpoint anything really changes fundamentally speaking, or the fear of inflation actually comes back. What do you think when oil goes up? Oh, inflation is back. And if inflation is back, what happens to the world? So I think it's too early to assume because the data is not accurate. So you cannot make a statement that inflation is back or Fed will not cut rates. It's an evolving situation, sad but true, tragic but unfortunate.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, talking about this week, we're going to have the IT majors as well come out with their earnings, TCS, Infosys, what have you. Looking at the valuations right now, while Wipro, TCS, Info are the cheapest of the lot, it's actually LTI, Mindtree and Tech Mahindra which are positioned right out there.
So let's start with the buyback in TCS. Why are they considering a buyback? You normally consider a buyback when you are... See, the hallmark for IT companies, at least the big ones, is that all of them are now doing a buyback on a regular basis. So the markets are now clearly assuming that the cash which is coming back into the IT companies, they are doing a lot of buybacks. And that buyback, in a sense, acts as a cushion because every time you do a buyback, it excites the market. Now, the problem with most of the IT companies is currently that even though the environment is not very easy to call, for most of the IT companies, valuations are way above the historical averages, and the stock has seen a run up. So, for example, you look at TCS. It is trading at 27 times. It is up 10%. It is outperforming Nifty. You look at Tech Mahindra, up 20 times, 20%, 20 times. It is handsomely outperforming Nifty. Similarly, with the exception of Infosys, which was more like an howler, most of the IT companies, I think, have done reasonably well for themselves from the recent low. So, IT is not cheap, but market expectations between April and now are different. In April, nobody expected anything from IT companies. Now, the expectations are high. And within IT also, Aisha, I think, Infosys becomes this special situation stock because of that guidance they've given. But I guess large deals are coming back. And that explains why a stock like TCS is not only at a 52-week high, it is also considering a buyback.
Yeah, absolutely.